So what was the deal about, is it going something?
Yes, the mayor got the memo 10 after 6, right on time. All right. First, let's get started. First, let's get on the odds. It's a blessing to be here. This is a combination of District 3 and District 8 town hall meeting, and unfortunately my other colleagues not here, but I believe that TC can take care of in the portion of the address. I just want to get started and say one thing. This is a city manager recommended budget. We are here for your input. We are here for you to tell us what you want to see in the budget, what you want to take out of the budget. I'll just give you some heads up that this is a biannual budget. Every 2 years we're doing this. Our third year of our first two. We did 1 year, 2 years, so now we're in the third year. To bring you up to date is that this budget is called for a $4.5 million tax rate, which is about 0.33 cents a rate. How we got there, just let you know on the budget, in 2018, 2019, we paid our police $60,000 more with an increase in pay. We turned around and we made sure those young officers get paid and trying to keep the other officers from leaving. We helped put your tax exemption up from $90,000 to $100,000. So the first $100,000 you're gonna pay tax on it. That costs us some money. We also had a good property tax increase, which gave about $20 million because we forecast about $7.8 million. We thought it was about $4, so that was another roughly about $20 million. So we kind of started out the budget about $14 million short. And right now, the budget that we're doing is not complicated, but it is kind of complicated if you try to listen to how we got here. So in a small man world is number one, we have a recommendation of the city manager budget of 78 on $100. If we do not do that, then our raise would be on 77.67, which would not have increased. But when you do a 2-year budget at $4.5 million, if we don't do it this year, it's still going to cost us $4.8 next year because we have SB2? The SB2, which is going to pay more money. It's going to cost more money because we got to go to the vote to make sure we get that. So just be open-minded, and we're going to stay on topic. The topic is about the budget. Nothing else, anything else. We got staff here to address any kind of question, but this is the budget. And with that, I'm going to introduce first, I'll introduce my mayor first. Mayor Johnson, you want to come and say the word first?
Thank you, Councilman Atkins. First of all, good evening, everybody. I really appreciate you all being here on a weeknight to learn more about the city manager's proposed budget and to give your feedback to someone who I've known for a long time, who I've respected for a long time. I consider a very good friend. Councilman Atkins is a fine councilman, a great leader. I've enjoyed working with him already. He's been on the job for 9 weeks. I can tell you he's been extremely helpful to me, but he's very knowledgeable about this budget. He understands this process. He understands how this budget how it compares to previous budgets and how we got to this point. But I just want to say that what we're doing, this process, it's not true that every community takes as much time and is as deliberate as we are here in the city of Dallas about soliciting citizen feedback on the budget. There are a couple of state mandated requirements in terms of public hearings about setting a tax rate, but beyond that, you don't have to do anything. The city of Dallas has sort of set a standard throughout the state of Texas for having a very, very robust citizen participation process. Every council district has more than one, in fact, opportunities in addition to the mandated public hearings to come and hear about the proposed budget and voice their concerns about it, but not just concerns. You know, you get to say if you like it too. They want to know if you looked at the city manager's proposed budget, if you like what's in it. Let them know that too. If you have concerns about it, let them know that. But this process doesn't work without you, and we do this because we believe that going above and beyond what the state requires is what the citizens of Dallas deserve. And your presence here tonight proves that this is a worthwhile expenditure of our city's resources. It's not free to have city staff and have people come and set up these meetings. So we actually do this because we believe that you actually want us here, and you value this opportunity to give your feedback, and your presence here tonight proves that that's actually the case. So I want to say thank you. I've been mayor 9 weeks, like I said, and I don't have a district. I have to represent the whole city. I'm elected at large. Some of you, when you voted in this last election, may or may not have voted for me for mayor. Doesn't matter. I'm visiting every district I can possibly get to hear a little bit of what you guys are thinking about this, because I have to cast a vote on the budget as well, even though I don't represent any single district. So I'm going to sit in on this meeting for a little while, if that's okay. No, Councilman Atkins, I'm not going to engage in the questioning. This is your meeting, but I want to sit and listen and hear what you have to say, and I'm going to take that with me when I have to go cast a vote, just like Councilman Atkins does on this budget. So with that, thank you very much for being here. Have a great evening. I'm going to sit over here and keep my mouth shut, okay? Thank you, Councilman.
Give a hand.
Thank you very much. Next, TC, no introduction. He's been here many, many years. He's been here before, so this is his recommendation. So take it apart, listen, and TC,
Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening. So, thanks to Councilmember Atkins as well as the mayor for the brief introduction. I will tell you, if you hadn't heard, this is my recommended budget. They made that clear, didn't they? They made that absolutely clear that this is my recommended budget. So tonight, I don't want to spend too much time up here talking. I just want to set some context, I think, for the budget and what we will be discussing this evening. And so we're going to show a video that gives you a very high level understanding of what's in the budget, that speaks to some of the priorities in the budget, as well as will guide you through, I think, the remaining parts of our budget development process. Like the council member, as well as the mayor said, over the next 2.5 weeks, my team and staff members who I'll have introduced themselves later before we get into the video are going to be out with council members in their districts, sharing the budget, answering questions that citizens may have, and residents may have on the budget, walking through in detail, if need be, with one-on-ones outside of the general questioning, just to give people a better understanding of the budget. As the mayor indicated, as well as Councilmember Atkins, it is my recommended budget, and in the budget, it's about $3.8 billion overall, with everything that we do, from police, fire, sanitation, libraries, parks and rec, and water and wastewater. The general fund budget portion of that is $1.4 billion, and those are the services and the revenues and resources that pay for the things that we typically talk the most about: police, fire, parks and rec, libraries, arts and culture, and things like that. So that is the budget we'll spend the majority of our time over the next several weeks discussing. That's also the budget that has in it the property tax rate that we charge citizens for those services. As the council member indicated, I am proposing a 0.33 cent increase over and above last year. That represents about $4.5 million of an increase, primarily to fund and support public safety. And I've said it many times when we talk about that being our number one priority. Public safety is our number one priority between police and fire. It absolutely is, because it takes 100% of every property tax dollar that people write to us when they pay their taxes. 100% of that goes to public safety. And about 25% of your sales tax, every time you buy something in this community that's taxable, goes to support public safety. And so the budget is up about 5.63%, or about $76 million in the general fund. Of that amount, about $54 million is associated with police and fire. And so, as I've shared, and some people may not find it accurate, that public safety is the leading force behind the budget increase this year. Even though the percentage of an overall budget, about 60%, remain the same for public safety, but it's where our new dollars are going this year as well as next year when you look at the year-over-year increases. It's heavily weighted to the meet and confer agreement, which is the contract we have with our police and fire associations that dictate pay. And so we're trying to get after that in a market-based scenario going forward that will make us competitive to retain and hire officers to ensure that, again, we have more officers and firefighters out on our streets. And so with that, that kind of sets the context of the budget. And so we'll have some great dialogue, I hope, on that. We've got staff who will help me in cases where there's some specifics around their specific departments that we need to have addressed. And so with that, and before I introduce the budget video, can I have all the staff members stand up and share with the community what departments you work for, so that if you've got a specific question that you may not want to ask, that may be directly not associated with the budget, they would be able to help you, so you can seek them out. And so why don't we start here in the front with the budget staff, who are going to help us navigate. Then we'll go from this side to the other. Give your name and your department that you work with.
Matt Reagan, Office of Budget.
So you got to use your outside voices. You got to yell.
Yeah. Matt Reagan, Office of Budget.
I'm Suzanne, I work in the Office of Budget. Sally Wright, Dallas Water Utility. Catherine Lee, 311.
James McGuire, Environmental Quality and Sustainability. Phil Sykes, Sustainable Development. David Schlegg, Economic Development. Kelly High, Sanitation Services.
Kirsten Nielsen, Library.
Ed Jameson, Dallas Animal Services. Jennifer Farley, Transportation.
Kawana Banks, Office of Homeless Solutions.
Office of Community Care.
Chandler Hickman, City Attorney's Office, Community Prosecution.
Marisol Patton, Public Works. Tina Richardson, Public Works.
Stephanie Mendoza, Dallas Police Department, Office of Community Affairs.
Felicia Foster, Office of Community Affairs.
Good evening, Raisha Wilson, City Manager's Office.
Chris Soto, District 3, Council Liaison, Councilman Thomas.
Maria Salazar, District 8, Council Liaison for District 8.
Angela Finley Everett, District 8, Councilmember Assistant.
Vincent with Park and Rec.
Lisa Randall, also Park and Recreation. Anne Marie Mann, Office of Arts and Culture.
All right, so the strategy is to outnumber you so it doesn't get out of control. They're here because they care and they want to be able to answer questions. So why don't we go ahead and run the video, and then I will turn it over to the council member to navigate the Q&A as it relates to determining who can speak. And we've got a microphone up front here, should we need that for the public.
Dallas is a great place to live. The things that happen in Dallas impact the entirety of the 6 million plus people that live here. The things that you will see in this budget do specific things to advance the collective good of the entire community. Public safety is a #1 priority for this city. What we're looking to do in this current budget is invest in not only recruitment and retention efforts, but ensuring that the pay package and or the resources that we provide for our first responders is sufficient enough to make them want to stay with our city. We're doing work in communities to ensure that every resident, no matter where they live, is available to be able to receive all the necessary services that the city offers, and that they can find a way to reach their outcomes consistently across the city, regardless of what your zip code is. We're making Dallas a more desirable place for businesses and families by improving and finding ways to make sure that people have access to more parks and recreation facilities, our library system with funding and supporting efforts there. We're investing in economic development programs. We're investing in workforce development. We're looking at all those things that make a community. And so I'm excited, again, about what we will find in this budget that reflects our values and our commitment to ensuring that people's quality of life is upheld in this community.
The city's $3.8 billion budget for fiscal year 2019-2020 funds a wide range of services to meet the needs of our residents. Included in the budget is $1.4 billion for our general fund, which supports core services residents depend on every day, such as police, fire, parks, libraries, and more. Dallas water utilities and sanitation services are also part of the budget, as well as resources to implement the bond program voters approved in November 2017 for streets, facilities, and infrastructure. Our budget is based on the city's 6 strategic priorities, direction from the City Council, and community input. The city's commitment to service first begins with ensuring residents, businesses, visitors, and employees are safe. Public safety is the largest part of the budget. We devote 100% of your general fund property tax dollars and about 25% of sales tax to public safety. It is our priority to address the public's concern to increase first responder pay and hire more police officers. With this budget, base pay will be competitive with the market, and officers with higher certifications will be paid even more. This will help us recruit and retain police officers and firefighters. We plan to have 3,053 police officers and 1,942 firefighters on duty by October 1st, 2020. We are also setting funds aside to hire or retain additional police officers or to implement recommendations from the police staffing analysis. To ensure first responder safety, we will purchase self-contained breathing apparatus, a second set of personal protective equipment for firefighters, and replace body-worn cameras for police officers. We will create a team of civilian crime analysts to track data in real time and proactively implement crime-fighting strategies across the city. Lastly, we will fund the Office of Community Police Oversight to serve as a liaison between the Community, Police Department, and Community Police Oversight Board. To fund these public safety investments this year and in future years, we need to make a commitment to public safety now. That's why the budget includes a slight increase in property tax rate by 1/3 of 1 penny, generating $4.5 million in additional revenue at a cost of only $8 per year for the average homeowner. Dallas residents have repeatedly ranked infrastructure as one of the most important services the city provides, but would like to see improved. This budget includes more than $85 million to improve the pavement conditions of 710 lane miles of streets and alleys citywide. It also provides resources to improve vehicle detection at 40 critical intersections, retime 250 traffic signals, and install 21 LED dynamic message signs around Fair Park. Importantly, the budget prioritizes maintaining our infrastructure for safe and clean drinking water and launches neighborhood drainage efforts to prevent flooding in local streets. Home to 9 Fortune 500 corporate headquarters and 59,000 small businesses, there is no doubt Dallas is a great place to do business. With this budget, Dallas will continue to spur new development in 19 tax increment financing districts. We will also increase efforts to stimulate small businesses and startups in high-need areas, and will broaden our investment in minority and women-owned businesses. Of course, a community is more than just business. It is people and neighborhoods 2. We will update our comprehensive plan to incorporate new policy initiatives and encourage strategic land development, all while promoting equity, sustainability, and neighborhood revitalization. This year, we will focus on the availability of affordable housing as we continue to implement the city's comprehensive housing policy. In June, the City Council increased the property tax exemption for seniors and individuals with disabilities to $100,000 from $90,000. This means a senior with a home valued up to $125,000 will not have to pay city property taxes, helping more seniors stay in their homes. The budget also funds grants to community agencies to address the drivers of poverty, specifically to help residents find stable employment by eliminating barriers to work, such as lack of transportation, childcare, or job training. For those experiencing homelessness, the city is working with partners to offer temporary shelter during extreme hot and cold weather or for up to 90 days through a pay-to-stay initiative. We are also starting a neighborhood grant program to reclaim and repurpose areas previously used as homeless encampment sites. Finally, we are working to advance equity and inclusion in city government and across Dallas. We are doing this by understanding historical and deeply ingrained policies and practices and engaging the community to address present-day challenges. We will continue to invest in enhancing residents' quality of life, whether through Code Compliance's Community Clean Initiative and monthly community-led cleanups to reduce illegal dumping, litter, and high weeds, or through overnight animal service response 7 days a week. Our priority is clean and safe neighborhoods. Additionally, we will boost recreational programming for teens and host pop-up cultural centers to bring cultural activities to areas without easy access to arts programming. Residents without internet access at home will also be able to check out mobile hotspots from the library. We strive to be an innovative organization that uses public resources efficiently and effectively. We plan to cultivate the use of data analytics and evidence-based decision-making under the leadership of the Office of Innovation. We will also focus on making the right technology investments, monitoring vendor performance, and reducing the overall cost of our fleet management. Lastly, we will foster an ethical organizational culture by continuing biennial ethics training and expanding the Employee-Led Values Ambassador Program. Through this budget, the city will continue to put service first to meet your needs with empathy, high ethical standards, a commitment to excellence, and a focus on equity. We welcome your feedback on the budget. To share your thoughts or learn more about the city, its departments, or programs, visit DallasCityHall.com.
Information. And what we're going to try to accomplish is, number one, we got to say the manager's budget. I want to hear your input. What we should put in the budget, which we take out. So it's open to you. Any question about the budget? No one will raise their hand? TC, you did a great job. They don't want a tax rate. They want a full point.
You're on it right there.
It said October 1st of 2020, we'll have so many police officers, a little over 3,000 police officers and 1,900 firefighters. What are we currently at?
So we're expected to end the year, I think it's down. Yeah, I got it. You know what? That is an increase.
Show what it would be for October.
I think about 3,020. It'll be up 19. That's the net. We expect to hire 265. We expect to lose about 240. And so that's the net on the police. It'll go up 19. And so if less people leave than we expect, we also budgeted additional $2.2 million to hire an additional 20 more. But that 240 is the average, probably over the last 5 to 7 years of how many people we've lost every year. So that's pretty much based on retirement age, what we expect to leave. So that's a net number of 19. So it's about 224-ish that we currently expect to end this fiscal year with, 3,024.
Next question. I think you have to
I think the young lady on the bleachers in the back.
I'm Marcia Jackson, and I have talked to Councilman Anderson several times, and I'm wasn't with them. But city manager and the mayor, I come and ask if the way that you can find budget money in there to help clean up Sheba Mountain because of the issues we got. Because of what we're going through down there, and that there needs to be cleaned up.
I think, number one, we have some bag money, some plastic bag, remember? The $250,000 that we put in climate control, environmental?
Yes.
I know we got $250,000 sitting over there. In this budget, that could be a recommendation, even though we're in a lawsuit, that in that rate, that $4.5 million there, if I say, if we want to take $500,000 from there to put over to clean up the environment there, I got to lobby another 8 or 7 council members to get a majority. So I probably need your help, and that's going to be one of my amendments to find out how much money can I put over to clean it up, because it's an environmental problem, it's a safety problem, it's a health problem. In order to grow our tax base, to put more business, more opportunity in our neighborhood, especially south of I-30, that will be one of my amendments there. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. District 8 is unique in that it has a lot of residential, it has a lot of territory, it has a lot of industrial, it has old zoning, if you go down Hampton and Wheatland, it has a lot of traffic issues. What specifically can you put together to address getting people to work the straight down Camp Wisdom? You can't go, there's no bus service that gets you there, but you have these jobs and you're trying to energize our community, but you need resources, you need revenue, and you need special attention.
Look at you, you must woke up. Number one, let's talk about transportation. That's part of DART. We had DART transportation. We talk about the TMA, that's a Transit Management Authority. With that, I believe TC kind of found out another $40,000 that he put in there. And that's something we got to monitor, working with the business, with the port, to get the merchants to put more money in there. We also working with Star Transit and with Uber, with App, with Lyft, also trying to get them to get people work for that last mile. But also, my traffic, Michael Ross and I, we kind of drove through the neighborhood. We do have money in how do we have traffic flow. We do have problems right there off of Hampton and Wheatland. We got all the mega churches there, and when people go to work, that's money that I think TC got to look at there. We got to look at the traffic, how the traffic flow. That's a transportation problem, and we do got money set aside in transportation, but if you got to get to the nitty-gritty, what other money we need, how much more money we need, that's something we got to look at in the budget and see where that line item's at.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you have planned for communities that have lacked infrastructure improvements? Say for instance, where I live, directly across Lancaster Road, Landmark's home on Pale Mill Street. We lack we need wider streets. We have no sidewalks. And right now, recently, the first part of this year, we found out that we have a storm drainage issue where it floods on certain streets now. I brought pictures, and for evidence, and so on and so forth, and other information that's pertinent to what I'm talking about now. So, are there any plans in the making to target areas like where I live to be able to help us live a quality life?
Let me go with L7. And we talking about Cigarette Hill. Everybody know what Cigarette Hill that all around, you know, all the cigarettes was a guy was a salesman, you know, sold cigarettes. In her area, you know, we got bar district, we got everything over there. We got kids who go to school who don't have sidewalks. In order to put those sidewalks in, it probably costs over $1 million. The biggest problem in District 8, you know, we got 1,000-mile of lane now. We got so much money to do that. I guess that would be the question to the city manager, and to hear how do we target neighborhoods? How do we say equality, equitable? And I don't know how we're going through that right now. And that would be something the city manager got to figure out how his staff can handle that. That is an equity problem, especially in our neighborhood. And so
thank you, Councilman. And I think you hit the word equity, and it's a tough one because there are quite a few communities that lack the sidewalks and larger streets. And I think that's a challenge in a lot of communities. That changed the fact that Cigarette Hill in your area is experiencing that. I think a couple of things that we're doing, and I think for the most part, I'll be quite honest, when it comes to complete streets, so to speak, and that means putting in sidewalk and gutter and not pitched roads, we're typically doing that more when we're redesigning our major streets. And so getting down to the localized level on residential streets, that's kind of a tough conversation as it relates to resources that we put. I know we are trying to deal with, in a very small way, beyond the bond program, localized erosion. So we're starting a program this year where we're spending about $2.5 million. But again, that's across the city. It's not a lot, but we've got a priority matrix of where some of the smaller localized flooding issues are occurring. And I think we're working with the council members respectively to figure out how we can do that better. And so we're trying to actually start to fund our stormwater division, who does that more from rates, so that we don't have to wait every 5 years for a major general fund bond issue, and we can build up enough revenue to go out and do their own smaller bond issues and get that stuff. As it relates to transportation and widening streets, and we're doing a lot with timing of streets, but the narrow streets, beyond getting right-of-way, you know, that's going to be really tough to deal with. I mean, even the street coming down to this particular recreation center to me struck me as too narrow and probably should have been widened a long time ago. Because I'll be honest, I was hoping nothing else big came down the street. So we've got to look at those kinds of things, but I think the residential streets are the toughest because we really focus on moving large volumes of traffic, and they're typically the last to get paved as well as widened. But if there are specific ideas around your community wanting to do that and they're willing to give up some right-of-way to do things of that nature, those are conversations I think we can have with your council member.
Well, I really truly just want to start small, you know, work our way up. I don't want to hit every, you know, you just can't do everything at one time.
Right.
So if we can show the residents that we're starting somewhere, that would, you know.
And so we quite honestly, will be hopefully recommending to council members what we're calling, I'm calling an equity revitalization package that really is dealing with some old pent-up bond funds to go out and do some work, but it will be in areas that have been identified in our market value analysis that we need to be investing in right now, and it may not be in every community, but we're trying to change the dynamic at smaller scale to hopefully create some momentum and some thought that, one, we care, but two, it might encourage people to invest in their own properties a little bit more if you give some city care to some things.
So you like my information?
I would definitely love to see it.
And just to piggyback on that, Cigarette Hill, they've been fighting for that over a period of time, the public working in. It's also about money, you know, driving down Crouch Road. We understand that, but, you know, we had X amount of dollars. Every council member had up to $25 million on the bond track, and 25% of our money went down Crouch Road, which is going to take over $6 million. So there's just one street. You got a whole lot of streets like that in District 8. So there's not enough money. So we probably about $6 billion in debt to do all our streets in the city. About $6 billion. So they give you a number that we're going to take, but I still look at you as a community. You sit here, you got to be focused on us that, hey, this is one priority in my community. And what I've been hearing, this is my third town hall meeting, they said, what about my community? What about where I live at? I want to have this taken care of in my community. And that's what I'm listening right now. So I can't fix everybody's community, but I take one little piece of the community priority and try to drill down on that. And what the city manager said, how can I fix that community and one problem we get something done? But that's a budget item, and that's why we need your input to say, can we raise that tax rate, where the money go to? Lady in the back. Please speak up.
My question is, the city is constantly coming out and fixing the same streets over and over again. Now, if you have to fix it, the same spots that many times, then it's a problem somewhere. Somebody in the chemical department or wherever that's putting everything together for them to come out and lay it down on the streets, and 6 months later, the hole is right back there again. We understand that it's dark that's put it there. We know that dark does not fix it. We understand that. But it's something that the city can come up with to stop the same holes from reoccurring every 3 to 6 months. Because we're tired of calling every 3 to 6 months because they come out and fix it, and then it just comes right back. So what can the city come up with? That's what I need you all to work on. Fix it. I understand that everybody needs a job and they need jobs so they can come on back and keep fixing it all the time. I mean, we understand it. But it's more holes than those that need to be fixed, and if you fix it right the first time, you won't have to continue to come back and refix it all the time.
And so you're talking in general, not just one specific area. There's a lot of things. So let me speak to 2 things, and then I'm gonna make sure that the public works person gets with you. One, depending on the condition of the street, it may be a street that is, for all intents and purposes, what we would call a dead street, meaning that you probably need to grind and re-overlay it and repair the entire street. And so if it's too far gone, then they will, because we may not have the funds to redo the entire street. We'll have to keep coming back because they need to do something in total. If it is not a dead street, I believe, and I'll talk with my public works people, that we probably need to do a permanent pothole type repair, and that is cut a wider square and really deal with the issue and put down a whole new subsurface in that area to keep water from getting underneath it. Obviously, the immediacy would be a cold patch or whatever we're currently doing that does wash away after rain, but we should, if the street is not completely gone, come back and look at a more permanent pothole repair. That's something I was used to doing up in the Pacific Northwest. Because of rain and the conditions up there, we had to go to a permanent piece. Because you're right, we were chasing the same pothole 3 and 4 times a year. And it's not something they like to do, but given some conditions of streets, that may be what they need to do. So I'd love to get some examples of the streets and intersections you're talking about, so we at least can share with you that's what the issue is with the street and put it on the inventory to possibly be replaced in a much larger way. So
okay. Let me piggyback on her. There's a street called Firebird. Firebird.
Is that a pretty bad condition?
Okay, hold on. The key with Firebird, it was part of the bond package. We resurfaced the street, we tore everything up.
Okay.
When we tore it up, we should put concrete back down.
Okay.
We put asphalt back down. Yeah. On Sweet Soup, we put concrete. We did it right. Now we're going back on Firebird, finna resurface it again.
Okay.
So that's a double deal. If we went and put concrete, we wouldn't have it done. So therefore, in our efficiency, that street that we do complete resurfacing, it should not be resurfaced. You need to turn it up and put concrete and bite the bullet. But what happened is we got so much money in repair, when you fix one pothole, the next pothole, and everybody run out the repair. And so therefore, we got to find out how do we budget instead of go fix all these potholes and turn the whole street up and do it right and be through with it.
And so there is a discussion around concrete versus asphalt. I'll tell you, you get more if the construction is quality construction. You get some good life out of an asphalt street and it's cheaper. Concrete is more expensive and it does last longer, so you do less streets. And so I think that is a great policy discussion to figure out, do we do more at a higher quality? We need to get some of these contractors that don't do a good job out of our system, quite honestly, because they should not tear up that quickly. We should come back for at least another 7 to 10
Well, but the
years.
point is, that street right there, dark
Yeah.
bus.
Yeah, so if it's a
Dark
heavy
bus,
dark
drive that
route,
bus.
then it needs to be concrete. I
And
agree.
that's a traffic that turn it up, the dark bus.
I agree.
Yes, ma'am. But hold on, is that a budget question? So it's a line item that we need to say we'll put more money in street, we already got a money in street, right?
We do.
Right.
We've got about 80 million for pay-as-you-go.
Pay as you go, that means you got a first
Still
come,
got
first
200
served.
million left
First
in the
come,
bond.
first served, right? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I'm piggybacking with Miss Ruth back
I
there.
can't hear, stand up, please.
I'm piggybacking with Miss Ruth. Our street was the same way. Long as dark was coming down our street, they were repairing it. Now, Sweet Sue is paved. Laura Lane asphalt. On our end, the gravel is loose, getting loose on it. On the end of Sweet Sue, it's Laura Lane, it's a mess. They come down there, do a little patching. Next couple of weeks, they patching again. And I think somebody need to talk to Dart. I don't think the city should be responsible for Dart tearing up the streets, because they have fixed that hole she was talking about, and it's ridiculous. So I'm with Ms. Ruth on that.
And so I'm not taking notes, but I'm sure my public works person is taking copious notes, correct? Where are you at?
Okay, yes.
Okay, y'all taking notes?
She taking notes, got it.